So hello guys and welcome to episode 39 of our Aston Martin save. Now we're going to start with the constructors standings this week just to give you an update on where everything is. If you've not watched the last few episodes, you're just joining in, it will be a good little recap for you. So we're currently in P4. Obviously last season we were very poor, finishing sort of P8, P7 in the constructors standings. The development of the car has been massive, but Alpine, I think, towards the end of this season have outdeveloped us. Now, I'm hoping we can hold on to P4. We have got an over 100-point advantage on them. I think Mercedes is out of sight for this year. We'll do as best, obviously, but I think the Mercedes is just too quick, and we are seeing that on track as well at this moment in time. Driver standings-wise, Pierre Gasly is in P6. Fernando Alonso is in P8. Both guys obviously in the top 10. We've been in the top 10 for most races this season. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, there's just a point between them, and Carlos Sainz well in the race as well. So all that to bear in mind as this race we come on to the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Again, one of my favourite circuits, 53 laps round here, historical circuit. 1950, the first Grand Prix. Rubens Barrichello in 2004 holds the lap record of a 1:21.0. Car attributes, top speed and high speed cornering. We're not bad on his top speed, so maybe we've got some hope here. Two big long straights that could really help us out. The expected strategy is a one-stop. If you watched the last episode, we did try a two-stop with Fernando Alonso, and that did pay off. Pierre Gasly wasn't particularly impressed with that, but we can't keep everybody happy all of the time. And the previous race result was a 9th and 10th for our team. But if you see what I mean with Alpine, that's the first time Sebastian Vettel's really beat us all season. So something to be aware of there. Development-wise on the car, we've done a couple of research projects. We're still doing research projects. Every part has got a minor sort of regulation change for next season, so we've got to be wary of that. But we have got a suspension and rear wing in development now. As soon as this is done in 5 days, we'll switch the engineers onto the suspension. So hopefully for the next Grand Prix, we'll have a further developed car. So I'll get into practice now. We'll see you for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix.
Welcome to Life in the Fast Lane. We're here at Monza in Italy, the home of Ferrari. But who will take home the points this weekend? Let's find out as we get started with the Italian Grand Prix. Monza, a centurion among circuits, dripping with motorsport history. Expect to see cars fly by, as 80% of the track is tackled at full throttle. It's not all go, however, and brakes can be prone to overheating through the tight chicanes that Monza has to offer. This is it. We're down to the last few races of the season, and it's time for that final push. Who will be crowned champion at the end of it all? We'll find out soon enough. Let's get this underway.
Final laps in Q2. Fernando Alonso needs a decent lap. He's green from the first and second sector to get him out of the drop zone. Fernando Alonso crosses the line. Doesn't improve by enough. So now it's all eyes on Pierre Gasly. Didn't have the best first sector, but he's on a fresh set of soft compounded tyres. Pierre Gasly, is he going to manage to make it into Q3? Doesn't improve by a whole lot. We're looking at Vettel, Albon and Norris, who have all got a chance. Norris doesn't improve enough, neither does Vettel. It's all on Alexander Albon. And Pierre Gasly is going to make it through, but Fernando Alonso is out in Q2. Maybe showing that little lack of pace that our car seems to have at this moment in time, but Pierre Gasly again out qualifying his teammate, so only one man to manage in Q3. Here we go then, final lap of Q3. Pierre Gasly, he got blocked off badly on his first run on a scrub set of tyres, but he's on fresh tyres. Yellow through the middle sector again, just overtakes Magnussen. He does improve by about 2 or 3 tenths there. The Haas of Magnussen and Latifi have not looked bad all weekend, in fairness. Pierre Gasly, though, we did in Q1 only do one run, so we've managed to save a fresh set of soft compounded tyre, which I'm hoping is going to benefit us. But Pierre Gasly is going to finish, and he's going to finish in P9. Carlos Sainz on pole for Ferrari's home Grand Prix, and Charles Leclerc on the second row. It's a checkerboard of Ferrari and Red Bull. Let's have a look at the strategies, see what we can do. Right, and so again, we are going to split the strategies. Fernando is going to start on the soft compound, going onto the medium. Pierre Gasly is going to go start on the medium, going onto the soft. I reckon Pierre has got more pace, so he should be able to just taxi along lovely, keep his 10 behind them, and then at the end he's got these fresh soft tyres to really go for it on. That's the plan. Let's see if it pays off and get to 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix.
Here we go. It's the Italian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away it's a decent start for Carlos Sainz. We're actually going to run on board with a front view for a change. Charles Leclerc gets a jump on Max Verstappen as well, so it's two Ferraris into turn one, into the first chicane. Are they going to be able to make it 1 and 2? Sainz holds it off, as does Leclerc, and it looks like Ferrari are going to lead their home Grand Prix 1 and 2. Fernando Alonso making a good start as well off the line. We're going to have a quick look at that, overtaking Valtteri Bottas on the fresh soft tyres. Got a decent start, inside line. Both our guys choosing to go for the inside line, especially Pierre Gasly covering off the Haas of Kevin Magnussen and sticking behind Esteban Ocon in front of him. Look at the McLaren up there as well, something else to just bear in mind. Danny Ricciardo in the McLaren, rolling back the years, obviously does like this track, won here in real life with McLaren, so something to bear in mind there. Pierre Gasly is overtaken Esteban Ocon, so he's now up to P8. Great work from Pierre on that medium tyre. Loving that. And then Fernando Alonso also now having a look at the back of Kevin Magnussen. A decent start for Aston Martin. So end of lap 1. It's Carlos Sainz from Charles Leclerc, then Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, then come the two Mercedes in Russell and Hamilton, Danny Ricciardo, P7, P8 for Pierre Gasly, then 9th for Ocon, 10th for Magnussen, Fernando Alonso knocking on the door, and if we have a look at the tyres, he should be attacking this Haas, and I think we are going to tell him to do just that down this next straight and get the job done. Lap 1. You join us back on lap 5 where we've got Fernando Alonso looking at the back of this Haas. This Haas has been a rocket ship in a straight line. Pierre Gasly's just set the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but here goes Fernando Alonso using the ERS and the DRS, but he can't get past this Haas of Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen, fantastic driving. Fernando Alonso dives to the inside. Is he going to manage to get round him? He's still using that ERS, and I'm hoping that Fernando is going to have the drag. It looks like he's got the job done. He has. Great work from Fernando. He's now up to P10. Pierre Gasly on these medium compounded tyre, latching onto the back of Hamilton and Ricciardo, both on the softs, and ticking along very, very nicely indeed. It's been a pleasure to watch Pierre Gasly drive so far in this race in the first 6 laps. Fernando's had a bit of a tougher start to the Grand Prix, but definitely now can use these tyres up and get cracking a little bit, and he'll be able to stop a little bit later than some of the other soft runners as well, so that's something else to bear in mind. I would expect Hamilton and Ricciardo, if we have a look at the strategy screen, Fernando coming in, around lap 20. I'd be expecting these guys to come in a little bit earlier than that, sorry. So that might give us the advantage with Fernando on that medium compounded tyre towards the end of the Grand Prix. But Pierre Gasly sitting pretty. Little bit of work for Fernando to do, but I'm sure he will get up there very shortly. Lap 6. Coming on to lap 10, we bring you back just to have a little look at this front battle, really, because we've got Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen, Leclerc and Perez all really battling for the lead here. As you can see, it's 2 by 2, the 2 Red Bulls on the outside, the 2 Ferraris on the inside. Max Verstappen cuts across lovely, got the inside line coming out of that first chicane. Sainz down to P2, Leclerc P3, Perez P4, and if you look, Pierre Gasly is not that too far away from these guys, and he's got that fresh soft compound to use at the end. Pierre Gasly could be in for a good race here if he carries on doing what he's doing. Danny Ricciardo, it must be said, he's doing a cracking job in that McLaren, maybe putting himself forward for a drive in the new look Aston Martin. Rumours continue about the new Vantage era that's coming to Aston Martin at the end of this season. So Danny Ricciardo maybe putting his foot in the door there. I mean, Fernando Alonso, fresher tyres, better tyres, can't seem to use them enough to catch up to Esteban Ocon, who's now on the medium, and that is probably the better tyre now with Fernando's wearing. But Pierre Gasly on the medium has just never looked in trouble. He's driving beautifully. Fernando seems to be working very hard with this car. Maybe it doesn't suit him as much as it does Pierre Gasly, but something to bear in mind. Fernando's having to fight off these guys. He's not saving his battery either. So has he just not got the pace? Is Fernando coming to the end of his career here in F1? And we're seeing it in the latter stages of this season. But at the moment, Pierre P8, Fernando P10, Max Verstappen just about leading. I mean, God, we could just sit and watch this battle all afternoon. But Max Verstappen has got it covered off into the first chicane this time. And Sergio Perez just loses out to Charles Leclerc, lap 11. Lap 14. Funny old race this, funny old race. Pierre Gasly is taking no managing, he's just doing his stuff, he's keeping up with the 2 Mercedes who are both on soft compounded tyre. everything's looking pretty rosy around here at this moment in time. Sorry, one Mercedes is on soft compounded tyre and Daniel Ricciardo. He's got the pace, he's going to have the fresher tyres than Hamilton towards the end of the Grand Prix. So Pierre Gasly, everything totally fine in Pierre Gasly land. Fernando Alonso, I really don't know what to say. I'm having to manage his DRS, I'm having to tell him when to overtake, when to not. He's dropping positions. I just cannot seem to get a tune out of Fernando Alonso, and he can't seem to get a tune out of this car. He's got a battle on his hands here. He's got a real battle on his hands for P10. Valtteri Bottas, again, putting in a stonking performance in the Alfa Romeo. Magnussen's looking quick this weekend as well. So Fernando Alonso is having to work exceptionally hard, and to say he had fresh tyres, we know that the Aston Martin, it's not exactly kind on its tyres this year. But running down in P13, Fernando, so work to be done. And he looks like Lando Norris is going for a move on him as well, so we'll keep monitoring that. Like I say, I've not even had to really look at Pierre Gasly, but we'll just keep monitoring the situation. Maybe Fernando will find it a bit better on the medium compounded tyre. We'll have to see towards the end, but lap 15, Perez and Verstappen now lead. It's a Red Bull 1-2 at Monza. The Ferrari fans will not be very happy at all. Sainz and Leclerc down in P3 and 4. Russell, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Gasly, Ocon and Bottas, and Guan Yu Zhou's at the back, fighting with the two Williams after an earlier lockup. There weren't so much to see there. Williams in a lofty P17 with Yuki Tsunoda latching onto the back of Nicholas Latifi, who's not performing in the same sort of area that Kevin Magnussen is doing. Lap 15. Lap 18, first one of the soft compound runners to box, and it is Lando Norris. He's just gone onto a set of medium compound, which he reckons are going to last him to the end. There has been discussions on the Aston Martin pit wall about sending Fernando onto some hard compounded tyre rather than the medium. Pierre Gasly has just managed to get past Daniel Ricciardo. Great move from him. So yeah, can't complain with that at all. He's done well to get past him, and he's also put in between himself and Esteban Ocon, which was the main thing we were hoping for. Hamilton's tyres have got to be nearly dead, but the problem is his teammate is dragging him along quite nicely. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see. If we have a quick look at the strategy screen, Fernando, the medium tyre is going to be practically dead by the end. If we change that to a hard compounder tyre, he can be a little bit more aggressive. Does beg the question. We've got 2 laps to make that decision, I believe. If we have a look what's happening around us, I think a lot of the soft compound runners will box. But look at the tyre wear difference between Vettel and Alonso. Maybe going on to the hards might be a good idea for Fernando, and it just gives him that benefit towards the end. Bearing in mind they're at 65% now, after 20 laps, I reckon ours will be dead towards the end. So Fernando might be going onto the hard compounded tyre. We've not seen that being used so far. Pierre Gasly's having a real battle now though with Ricciardo and Ocon, which he really doesn't want to be in all honesty. I'd rather him be saving his DRS a little bit, and I think that's what we might tell him to do now. Just save up a little bit before his next stint, because we really want to get to those soft compound tyres and have the advantage at the end. So as things stand, Verstappen from Perez still at the front. Fernando Alonso just gained a position on Vettel by the looks of things. Magnussen's up next. He could do with getting past him pretty quickly. Lap 19. Lap 20. A lot of cars coming in for the medium compounded tyre. Ricciardo, Magnussen, Vettel, Hamilton, all in. Fernando Alonso's been told, use your ERS. Try and catch up with Bottas to see if we can extend this stint a couple of laps. That is the other option, rather than going onto the hard compounded tyre, is to keep up with Valtteri Bottas, and then hopefully we can extend this stint by a couple of laps and then get him in for the medium compounded tyre like everybody else. Still a school of thought that the hard compound might be the better race tyre, but we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly doing very well as well. He's now keeping up with Esteban Ocon. He's actually overtaking Esteban Ocon. We're just going to set the ERS to harvest. We don't really need to be attacking Esteban. He's quite quick. I think he's on par with us. So Pierre might as well save his DRS a little bit, use that DRS of Esteban Ocon to extend his stint a little bit as well, and he's going to get the DRS on this straight. So everything at the moment looking alright, and Fernando has managed now to catch up with the guys in front. So Bottas, we just latch onto the back of Valtteri now and see where it goes from here. Lap 21. Box for Fernando. Lap 23 is coming on. We didn't feel that it was worth extending any longer after looking at the times of Norris and Magnussen. We felt that Fernando was doing a decent enough job, but let's see where he comes out. We want to be really looking at where these two are coming out now. Vettel as well. Fernando coming out onto the medium compounded tyre. Obviously, he's going to have better tyres towards the end. Hopefully, depending on how our car manages it. But he's lost positions. He's lost positions. Where is he coming out? Alonso. Oh, he hasn't. Sebastian Vettel coming down the start finish straight. Is he going to hold on to this? This could be key. And he's not managed to get out in front of either of them. But he's harvested his DRS. That's fantastic. And he can be nice on his tyres now. He can be nice on his tyres, Fernando. Stay in the DRS of these two, and it will come to him. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly, he's saving his tyres. His DRS is charged. Everything is looking pretty fine for Pierre at this moment in time. He's just latching onto Esteban, and we'll carry on from there. But Lewis Hamilton is looking supremely quick. And it's rather annoying how quick that Mercedes is at the moment. Lap 23. BSC is out, and it looks like we've had a crash at the front. Who's it going to involve? It's one of the Mercedes running wide and then coming back onto the track. Was that Max Verstappen? It was Max Verstappen. And then he collides with George Russell. That has brought out a VSC. Which is not the end of the world for us, because that means Fernando can conserve his tyres. It means Pierre can conserve his tyres a little bit more as well. So that all works for us. It's brought Verstappen back into play. Verstappen is going to have to make a pit stop now. Now, is he going to go onto the hard compound tyre? I'm assuming he's got damage. George Russell must have. We did see a front wing knocking about on the track. Some debris, and it is George Russell. He's going to have to come in for a pit stop. And a lot of the front guys are coming in under the VSC. We've decided to stay out with Pierre Gasly. Ocon's in. What are they going on to? It's too early for softs. It's far too early for softs. What are they going on to? Are they going on to hards? They've all gone on to the hard compounded tyre. We've decided to stay out. And now we have got to use this opportunity. We're going to be on the faster compounded tyre towards the end of this race now. The much faster compounded tyre. A lot more guys coming in as well. Ocon's in, Russell. They've all come in apart from Pierre Gasly. Virtual safety car ending. There is a 10-second gap. So they're on the hards, we're on the mediums. But then we're going to be on the soft compounded tyre against worn hards towards the end. This could be the time for Pierre to go on these tyres now. Pierre Gasly, it is all up to you, my friend. 9 seconds. He's got 15 seconds to Charles Leclerc. We don't know if there's going to be any more safety cars. Fernando Alonso looking after the tyres beautifully as well. He's going to be on the faster compounded tyre now than the guys in front. This race has been blown wide open. It was considered to come in for the hard and go to the end. But I'm hoping that these fresh soft tyres, the delta between the two, is going to be much, much better. If we have a look at the strategy screen just quickly, if we just look at that strategy now, what they've gone onto the hards, and they've come in what, now? I think that that's going to be much slower. If we create another strategy, I think that's going to be slower. So we're going to stick at it now. Lap 25, we'll see what happens. Pierre Gasly leads the Italian Grand Prix. Right then, Pierre Gasly is going to come in this next lap for the soft compounded tyre. We're hoping that we're going to have some massive, massive pace on these tyres. In he comes. Right, let's see where he comes out. I reckon he's going to come in about P10, P11. Fernando is battling away back there, not having too much luck at all. Valtteri Bottas still got to pit. Right, where's Pierre Gasly? God, he's already down to P8. Soft compounded tyre on. Bottas coming through.
Looks like Aston Martin.
Oh, we're going to stay in front of Bottas? We're not. Are we going to stay in front of Norris? We need to stay in front of this gaggle of cars, really. They're coming down the pit straight. That's beautiful. Right, Pierre Gasly out in P10, but now on the much quicker tyre than the cars in front of him, apart from Bottas. Ricciardo might not have to pit again. Bottas, I'm guessing, will have to. The guys on the hard compound, we'll see how this goes now. Fernando Alonso's got to start making some moves as well. Lap 34, Carlos Sainz leads from Sergio Perez and crucially has broken the DRS. Lap 39, Fernando Alonso had to start making moves and he finally did. He made a good move into the chicane. and then finished it off on the next sort of straight, and then now he's behind Sebastian Vettel. Like I said, Bottas still got to pit. If he can stay behind Vettel now, and I'm hoping towards the end of this Grand Prix we will manage to get him. Enjoying that in the Aston Martin garage. We're not getting as many cutscenes like this towards the end of this season. Bottas has got to pit again, so Gasly's going to go to P9. I think P9 and 10 is very much on the cards, depending on what both drivers can do. Fernando now looking at the back of Sebastian Vettel. What's his tyres like? He's got better tyres than Sebastian. And straight away on the DRS, he's having a good look at him to see if he can get past him. I'd rather him stick behind for a little while, charge up his DRS, charge up the, keep the tyres fresh, and it will come to us towards the end. The guys in front of us, Hamilton, Bottas, I don't think we're going to catch him. It's probably not paid off with Pierre Gasly. We should have pit under the VSC, but you never know what could happen just yet. Lap 40. Lap 43, we've had another crash, and it looks like it's going to be Nicholas Latifi. And the Williams, I'm not sure who the Williams is, it's the Williams that locks up and absolutely clobbers Latifi. We were hoping for a safety car. It doesn't look like it's coming. Pierre Gasly's now still sat in P10, 1.3 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas, who did run a little bit wide at one corner, so that's why we managed to catch him so rapidly. We will start getting the DRS off him very shortly too. Fernando Alonso, like I said, he's been on light tyres for quite a while now, although we are still using him up a little bit quicker than the people around us, but we'd rather stay behind Sebastian Vettel. Stay behind Sebastian Vettel, charge that ERS up, and we will go from there. It will come to you, Fernando. But Pierre Gasly, he's not far away from getting in this DRS, and that could be very helpful for him. So I think we're going to have a little... Well, in fact, he's already going to be in it, I think. Is he going to get DRS down this next straight? Let's see if he manages to get it. Keep your eye on the bottom right. He does. Pierre Gasly's going to get pulled up towards Valtteri Bottas now. As we said, Valtteri Bottas, we do think is going to pit again, but he may not. If he doesn't, he's got a long stint on the soft compounded tyre. So lap 44, still a good chance of double points for us, providing Valtteri Bottas decides to pit. Lap 44, new fastest lap and a Williams in the way. My goodness gracious me. I thought that were it. Pierre's life must have flashed before his eyes, because I thought that's it, we've had it here. Fernando Alonso's charged up his back, so he's ready for his full assault on Sebastian Vettel in a little while. But my word, are we going to get a replay of that from Pierre Gasly? We're just coming back to tell you, he set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on lap 43. He's absolutely flying now. There has been a multiple car crash. Safety car would change everything for Pierre here. He'd be on soft compounded tyres, he'd be up with the main guys.
Okay, copy.
And it looks like the crash is Fernando Alonso.
Looking at Lando Norris.
Let's keep an eye on Lando Norris here. What's he done? He's locked up and he's absolutely smashed off Fernando.
Who was in the wrong there?
Are we not having a safety car for that? Fernando is out. Fernando, he's not out. He's coming into the pits. Fernando, retire the car. Retire the car. There's no point. We're going to retire Fernando from the race. Look at the state of that wing. Lando Norris somehow carrying on. But that is an absolute sickener for Fernando. Not had the greatest of races, it must have been said. I did think we were on for points with him.
We need to retire the car.
But Fernando has retired the car. Pierre Gasly now battling away with Valtteri Bottas. So it's all on Pierre Gasly to get a point for Aston Martin today. Alpine scoring well again, it must be said, with Esteban Ocon. Still a chance for Sebastian Vettel to get something out of this. But lap 45, just Pierre Gasly left. That's a sickener, that. And Lando Norris in for soft compounded tyres and a new front wing. And hopefully a penalty as well deserved. Poor old Fernando. And you join us on the final lap where it was a photo finish between Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz. It was great work from Sergio Perez. He'll be very, very happy with that. Stealing the win from Ferrari at their home GP. Great work for Sergio Perez. You can see him celebrating there. Fantastic work from him this afternoon. His teammate obviously having that little bit of an incident. That's a little bit, big incident. Pierre Gasly, this is just a back marker. Valtteri Bottas did pit as we expected. So Pierre Gasly is going to come across for P9. I think you'll argue that possibly he could have been up in P7 today, but we chose not to come in for the hard compound. We chose to stay out. possibly not the right decision. Obviously disappointment with Fernando. I think he may have got the fastest lap as well, Pierre Gasly. So we'll just fast forward now to the classification. And let's have a look what we got then. So Pierre Gasly didn't get the fastest lap. Charles Leclerc got that. So Sergio Perez won from Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc in third, Hamilton fourth, Verstappen fifth, Russell, Esteban Ocon, Ricciardo. Great result for Danny Ricciardo in the McLaren. Pierre Gasly and Sebastian Vettel getting another point for Alpine. What does all that mean in terms of the drivers' standings? Charles Leclerc now leads the Drivers' Championship from Max Verstappen by 5 points. Carlos Sainz just 1 point behind Max. And Sergio Perez a little bit further back in fourth. Pierre Gasly stays at P6 in the drivers' standings as Fernando Alonso drops a position to Esteban Ocon to P9. Constructors-wise, Ferrari lose a point on Red Bull but maintain their lead at the top of the Constructors' standings. Mercedes stay P3, Aston Martin stay P4, and we only crucially lose 5 points to Alpine. So hopefully we can hold them off towards the end of the season. I hope you've enjoyed that video. We'll see you on the next one. Like and subscribe. Ta-ra.